Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about recognizing passive voice verbs. If we look at this picture, you can see a ball hitting the man in the head. To make a sentence about that, I would say the ball hit the man. This is an active sentence, and this is probably what you're used to when you build a sentence. I have the subject, the ball, does this action of hitting the man. In English, there's another way to write this sentence that has the same meaning. We just construct it a little bit differently. We call this passive. If we look at this sentence, the man was hit by the ball. You can see some differences between this sentence and this sentence. First of all, you see the ball here in the subject position. Down here, it's the man. The form of the verb is a little different. Here we have hit. Down here, was hit. And then at the end of the sentence here, I have the man and by the ball. So today we're going to learn about how do I recognize if a sentence is active or passive. If we look at this picture, we have a man driving a car. The man is driving the car. With that subject, man, and that verb, drive, I could have lots of different verb tenses. Here's the man drives the car. That is present simple. Here, the man is driving the car. That's present progressive. Then if I want to look here, I can see the passive form of each of those verb tenses. The man drives the car. The passive form is the car is driven by the man. With present progressive, the man is driving the car. The passive, the car is being driven by the man. Now let's talk about what we look for when we recognize if a sentence is active or passive. The first thing we can look at to see if it's a passive voice sentence is we look if the subject does not do the action of the verb. Here, the car is driven by the man. The action in the sentence is driven, drive. Now, who is doing the action of driving? It's not the car, okay? It's the man. So in a passive voice sentence, the thing in the subject position does not do the action of the verb. Okay, the car is not doing the action of driving, so that would be a passive sentence. The second thing we can look for to recognize a passive voice verb is what the verb looks like. The verb form. Here, the car is driven by the man. Is driven, that's the passive form of the verb. The passive form of the verb is going to be some form of be. Here we have is. So some form of the verb be plus the V3. That's the past participle of the verb. So if V1 is drive, V2 is drove, V3 is driven. So the passive voice form of the verb, some form of be plus V3, is driven. Let's look at some more examples of the verb form with be, some form of be plus the V3, the past participle. Here, the car is driven by the man, that would be present simple, because I have the present simple form of is. The car is being driven by the man. In this one, I have is and being. That would be the present progressive form of the verb be. So that would be present progressive passive. Down here, has been driven. You see has been as the form of be, that's present perfect. So that would be present perfect passive. So let's look at some sentences, and you tell me, is it active or is it passive? The room will be cleaned by me. I ate the sandwich. The sandwich was eaten by me. The people were given a sandwich by the hostess. Let's look at the first one. The room will be cleaned by me. The first thing I look at is that subject. I see room. Is the room doing the action of cleaning? The answer is no. So that's a passive sentence. I can also look at the verb, will be cleaned. I have be plus the past participle, cleaned. So that's another reason why that is a passive sentence. I ate the sandwich. This sentence is active. I am doing the action of eating. So I ate. That's active. The sandwich was eaten by me. Here we have sandwich. Is the sandwich doing the action of eating? No. So this is a passive sentence. I can also look at the verb. Was eaten. Was is the past form of the verb be. And then I have the V3, the past participle here. The last one. The people were given a sandwich by the hostess. The people. Are the people doing the giving in this sentence? No. The host is doing the giving. So this is passive. I can also look at the verb. Were given. Were is the past form of be. Given is the V3, the past participle. So I've talked about two ways that we can recognize whether it's active or passive. We can look at the subject and ask, does the subject do the action of the verb? We can look at the form of the verb. Do I have some form of the verb be plus the V3? The other thing I can look for sometimes, but not always, is a by phrase at the end of the sentence. By me. A lot of times for a passive sentence, we put the person who does the action of the verb at the end of the sentence with by. So if I see by somebody at the end of a sentence, that's another clue that it's a passive voice sentence. So if we look here, these are all three passive voice sentences. Here's some more sentences. Tell me, active or passive? They drink beer. The bugs were killed. The house was painted. She was painting the house. They drink beer. Are they doing the action of drinking? Yes. So that one is active. The bugs were killed. Are the bugs doing the action of killing? In this situation, no. I can also look at the verb form. I have were, which is the past form of be, plus killed, which is the past participle. The house was painted. Is the house doing the action of painting? No. That makes it a passive sentence. I can also look at the verb. I have was painted. I have was is the form of the verb be and the past participle, or the V3. She was painting the house. She was painting. She was doing the action of painting. So in that situation, that is an active sentence. The subject is doing the action of the verb. So, today what we've talked about is recognizing an active and a passive voice verb in a sentence. Some things to remember: if it's an active sentence, the subject does the action of the verb. If it's a passive sentence, the subject does not do the action of the verb. Or the noun in the subject position does not do the action of the verb. And we can also look at the verb form. If the verb is formed with some form of be plus the V3, or the past participle, then it's going to be a passive voice sentence. Thank you. I hope that helps clear things up for you about active and passive sentences. Have a good day.